Aha. Okay, welcome everyone. We're starting our live stream 4 minutes late. And hopefully no one's disappointed. Here we are with the creators of .com. I see us, we're live. Let me turn the volume off there. The creators of .com. I see us, we're so exciting. Okay, do you guys see yourselves?
Yeah.
Okay. So with us today are Andrew and Jay Huff of Huff Media Productions. I'm not sure if I have the company name correct, but I got your names right.
Got it.
And they are the creators. Andrew is the director, writer-director, and Jay is the producer of Connor Webtective. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Absolutely. Now, we go back a long ways in various conferences and conventions, and then one day you guys took a risk on me to stunt coordinate your movie, and that's when we started getting to know each other.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I mean, maybe this is a plug for the ICVM Storytellers Conference, but I'm fairly certain that's kind of where we first connected. Although it could have been another one. We've done a handful of these festivals and conferences, and I know you have too. But yeah, we always kind of went into those being like, we're looking for collaborators, and so as we got into stuff, it was always a who have we met, who do we know kind of thing, and we can get into the story of us making Connor Webtective the movie, but yeah, it just was like it helped that you were in Memphis, which was great because we were shooting in Nashville, and so for us it was like super important to try to not only leverage working with other people in the Christian space, but also find people that
Are pretty local.
Yeah,
Yeah.
local.
Well, and one day if you get into the Tennessee tax rebate, then that's a plus to have another Tennessean.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love
We tried, and if you want to know our journey about the Tennessee tax stuff, I can give you the lowdown, but
I
we might
know.
not have time for that.
Well, you guys have done it in the trenches for years to put this together. WeFunder and shooting with the film commissions, and now a completed movie in the theater. So there's a lot we could learn and glean from you. But I love what you said a minute ago about collaboration at these conventions. And I realized recently two things. One is stunts is part of marketing. Stunts always makes the trailer, so that makes us marketing.
Right.
And the other is there's too many filmmakers, or I meet too many filmmakers that are going it alone. And so I've just been brainstorming, how can we collaborate and cross-promote each other and just encourage each other? So, initially I was your stunt coordinator, but now I'm producing a movie and I'm learning from you guys. And, I love that you have a heart for collaboration.
Yeah, I think the only way that, like, especially indie filmmakers and scrappy filmmakers who are don't have the benefit of a studio coming behind them with not only money but also the other resources. I think it's really important to have your community to have people that you can bounce ideas off of and who have the same heart. I mean, like that's one of the reasons why we always go to ICVM and ICFF and content, because that's where the people who have the same foundation and heart as we do, we often find them there. And it's people from, maybe Memphis or Texas or, all over across America who have the same heart who want to see better Christian content. And I think in the post-marketing, and I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit, but it's always, if it was just us doing the movie and we didn't allow anybody else in, yes, we could have controlled all the product. But it's like our church says, like when you get into community, it divides the pain and it multiplies the joy. So when Connor's a success, it's not just our success, it's your success because you were our stunt coordinator. It's all the actors involved. It's the people who came along the way and just, maybe did BTS for us a day or two. Like they get to celebrate as well because they were part of the team that helped get us to where we were. And the more people that are cheering you on, the more confidence you have because it is a very lonely industry. You have the confidence, but then there's also other ideas that are coming in and saying, well, this guy did it this way. And you're like, that's a great idea. I didn't even know because I think sometimes filmmakers, even though like we put stuff out there on socials about Doc Connor and go watch it now, our process sometimes is a little more like, oh, we don't know if this is right or not. So it's right for us. Yeah. And so we just kind of keep it in our room so that we don't either, misalign somebody else. But then if other people can come alongside and say, well, this person did it this way or this person did it this way, like these ideas are just gonna make the movie even better.
Yeah.
And so we want to make good movies, and we want to encourage other people to make better movies too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I notice on Facebook, or sorry, on social media, Instagram and Facebook are your two main social media channels. I've noticed that you're now starting to talk about, I think you're going through your photo library and like, oh, there's a moment. Let's talk about that person and what they did for us. And so you guys are very proactive your movie is completed, but you're still, and you have to continually build audience. And
yeah, and the audience, honestly, our audience, the last month, our audience has grown by 300 or 400.
Yeah.
Followers and subscribers or whatever you want to call it, and for whatever reason, and I love that more people are discovering us, and so those people maybe haven't seen that photo that I posted 2 months ago, but also like I always, there's always something new to say about a photo. There's always a new, and so I love being able to dig up those memories again for me, and I am the socials behind it. Andy sometimes jumps in there and helps me with comments. I'm really bad about comments, but I do love posting about.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning a couple things about socials. One is don't put links outside the channel. If you're on Instagram, don't post a YouTube link because Meta and Google are competitors.
Yeah, exactly. So don't, on any of your socials, don't just, if you can help it at the very best, don't link it in your post, and then that's why we always put links in our comments.
Right. Okay, so I'm learning that either in the comments or in the bio.
Yeah.
But you can only fit like one link in the bio.
Whenever somebody says link in bio, I'm always like, oh, I have to go find their bio. Yeah, it's so much easier if it's in the link. I mean, like, here's the thing: you just keep it so easy. People will check out so fast. It's you lose people really, really fast on socials because there's so much that you want to get through on socials.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
But yes, you can link it in your bio for sure.
What else have you learned along the way as far as building audience? And tell me why. How? So you started off by making a series a few years ago, and so you built audience with that, and then you parlayed that into more audience, and then the anticipation of making the feature and all the ways to engage audience. The Plumb Tales is about engaging audience, and selfishly to have traction data to show investors and distributors. But we have to learn how to raise money, and we have to learn how to sell our movies, because the distributors are the last money in, first money out, and their risk is zero because the movie is completed. Yeah. So how does the indie filmmaker, the scrappy filmmaker, make money so that we can do it again, right?
You have thrown about 4 questions at us. So
I can start it out.
What you want.
Yeah. And I'll start us out. I'll spoil it first and tell you the indie filmmaker doesn't make money in this current economy. So I'll tell you that much right now.
Blessings and
we believe that's upside down though, and we know others, friends of ours. I mean, I know Marcus Pittman, who's a good friend of ours, and a lot of other people in this space who call the balls and strikes when it comes to how bad the distribution system is, and so we definitely feel that. But for us, like the whole way we even got into this was just as parents, we really wanted better entertainment for our kids, and even as adults, we want better entertainment for ourselves. I mean, to be honest with you, we're so tired of watching even movies that we know we're not going to show our kids, but at the same time, I'm thinking of modern movies, just don't make us feel very good about it, what we're watching. And so it's one of those things where like we just felt so strongly about that and started our business and really were trying to sort of, and this is the speed run version of our history, is trying to get to that place where we could make content. And so, yeah, we started out with a series because it was just easier to make at that point. It was very easy to make these 10-minute episodes of this kid series because the way the series was done was a lot of Dot talking to camera and you following her investigations and some animated sequences and all that kind of stuff. So like we would shoot about an episode a day, I think, was about the rhythm of the
I thought we
production.
did. Yeah.
Ultimately, so like, I think it was like 8 to 10 days of production.
Or 4.
Ultimately, no, well, no, on the whole thing, I think. All that to say that like, the locations were much more simple. We even did some early like shooting against a large television, 'cause
Early green
it was
screen.
supposed to be like a early volume.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a person just in a singular space, like talking back to somebody. And so we did a lot of that, and the series. Then we went about trying to find the audience for the series, and this is getting ultimately at the heart of sort of your question, to say that I don't know if we actually have figured it out at this point, other than we can't stop making stuff. And we know there's an audience out there, but what we're finding, or at least kind of how we feel, is that audience is so fractured that we're not entirely certain how they found us or how to engage the people. Because here's the other thing that indie filmmakers deal with is we might have a family that watched Doc Connor on, say, like Tubi, the series, but they don't like our Facebook page. They don't follow us on Instagram, but the kids loved the series.
Yeah.
Well, how do
They
we
might
know?
not even have socials.
Tubi's not sharing that information with
Yeah.
us. Nobody is. So I don't know if you want to add to that
Well,
in terms
that's
of
what drives me crazy about the streamers is they keep the data. And at the end, when you make the sequel to Dot Connor and you try to go back to the fans, if you were on Tubi or Prime or Netflix, you can't directly go back to them because you don't own that email list. So we have to
Right.
learn how to collect our own emails. One thing I learned about Tyler Perry, he started out making plays, and he collected the emails from every ticket holder, purchaser from all his theaters.
Yeah.
And when he made his first movie, he told them, he had to educate them because they don't know. He said it's
Yeah.
very critical for attendance to be high on the opening weekend of a movie.
Yeah.
And his fans turned out, and that was
Yeah.
made all the difference.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, yes, getting the emails, being able to, like, I mean, you can look at Markiplier with, Iron Lung and and building that audience. We have with Dot Connor specifically, not Huff Media, but with Dot Connor specifically, that is actually a really hard audience to get to, because your audience really is that teen girl from 8 to
20. Yeah.
12, 13,
Yeah.
but they, for the most, but their family is Christian, right?
Yeah.
And so the Christian family really doesn't allow their kid on social media.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is actually build a social media for the parents of this child, that hopefully the parent sees the movie and the advertising and what we're doing on Facebook or Instagram and goes, you know what, I think I will show this to my child. But like how we reach that child is actually very, very difficult, because historically that kind of family is going to keep their child, rightfully so, away from socials and screens that have this kind of advertising done to them. So it's a very unique problem to try to advertise to a tween.
Yeah.
And that we've obviously, that was a huge problem for us.
Yeah.
But I think we did a good job finding our audience and building that avatar. There's a lot of companies out there that help you find like ways that you can like cross communicate and advertise to the parents of that market, which is very interesting. I'd love to get into that with you another time.
Yeah.
But like once, but you know, you gotta, it's really, that one is a whole different ball of wax. But for somebody who loves horror or somebody who loves like action, or you know, it's like, well, obviously it's going to be a man between the ages of, you know, 20 and
Yeah.
700, you know, like it's just like it's like that's a little bit easier to get to because
Yeah.
that man is most likely watching TV, he's scrolling on his phone, probably has some sort of social,
Yeah.
and so but if anything, like again, when we did our advertising for Doc Connor, we did it on, you know, we advertised before like YouTube videos and some Google ads and stuff like that that maybe kids would be able to see. But
Yeah.
again, it's a whole other thing when you're trying to do tweens, and so we could certainly just focus on main adult audiences, and that's either,
Yeah.
although it's weird to say adult like that.
Yeah, well, you mentioned males age 20 and up, but I would say males age 13 and up because if I go to these conventions, there's people making movies and entertainment for age 12 and under, and the moms of age 12 and under. And I noticed some change this National Religious Broadcasting Convention because there were 2 breakout sessions on college age and Gen Z. Because you know there's some hunger for the gospel out there, and they're noticing.
Yeah,
But for the most part, like my teenagers, I have a 17 and well now a 20-year-old. Once they got to be a little bit older, and we're public school, so they're not that sheltered.
Yeah.
They're independent. They're driving. They've got their own money, and they don't want to sit and watch a movie with mom and dad because they know there's a critical thinking discussion to come afterwards, right? Because we don't want to waste a moment. But now they're out there, and there's no broadcast standards on streaming because it's not over the airwaves that are covered by the federal rules, and Hollywood's not going to self-censor. Although they might, you know, Blumhouse has realized that PG-13 horror is way more profitable. And I've talked to quite a few homeschoolers in front of their parents, and they both like to watch horror, and I'm like, whoa, that's kind of surprising to me. But some of them are watching it on VidAngel, so you know, a 90-minute movie is probably about 15 minutes. But there's an appetite, and as kids get older and get more independent, someone has to make content for them or give them options.
Yeah.
Well, and I think also is the Wonder Project, are they also doing a little bit of censoring?
They are offering studio projects, older studio projects that they've edited, yes, but they're not. That's a very
Light.
Yeah, it's very light kind of stuff that they're doing, but and sort of to your point, I mean, and this is maybe expanding beyond Doc Connor, like part of the reason we even then went to make Doc Connor the movie as well is that we're very big on noticing those gaps and wanting to fill those gaps because, you know, it'd be very easy. Making a movie is never easy, but you know, going and making like a traditional faith-based drama would be easy, meaning we all have been around in that space long enough to kind of know the right ingredients for it, right? So we could make that kind of a movie, and maybe that would be a lot easier because there's sort of a built-in audience at that point. You know, we probably have some distributors that would get our movie out in front of that audience. But for us, it's like, well, the reason we made our movie the way that we made it is we don't want those movies either. Like, we want those movies to be able to we want movies to be able to reach our kids who are also, they're just a few years behind yours. Our oldest is about to turn 18, and it's like he's not looking for the traditional faith-based drama either at that age. And so for us in our company, I think that's a huge part of what we're trying to do is be like, hey, we recognize that like people like your kids, people like our kids, they like certain kinds of movies, or they like being entertained by a movie. And right now what the world's offering them is so filled with nihilism and the type of content that we don't want, or that we don't think is healthy, that somebody, you know, there's people, or we need to step up and fill that gap. And I appreciate what you're saying about, like, I understand what you're saying about NRB and maybe a couple
Recording
of
in progress.
I don't actually think that that there's that many people in the Christian space that get this. So we're very much looking at it going, you know, yeah, it does. We don't think there's a pathway out there for these kind of movies to really get to the audience through the typical channels, which is where Jay was saying we often found ourselves just kind of in this place of, hey, we believe in this, we believe it's out there, let's try to figure out how to do it. And I'm not saying we haven't figured it out, I don't feel like, but you know, we are probably further along than others at certain points. So.
Yeah, and as long as you're willing to share, we can all advance. So I'm really grateful for you guys being trailblazers.
Yeah. I think you were asking about how, like, I mean, we got started, obviously we had a little bit of audience with .con or the series, but we didn't really know how big that reach was, nor how to reach that audience. We just knew this was something, this was, like Andy was saying, this was a hole in the market. And so we started fundraising on WeFunder, which was recommended to us through faith-driven investors. That's how they like to kind of reach these kind of projects. And so that's why we chose WeFunder. It's also just very reputable when it comes to their vetting and their paperwork and being compliant with the SEC. And so that was important to us. And I think it would be important to investors who want to make sure that they are investing with people who are doing the right thing with their money and contracts and things like that. So you have to jump through a lot of hoops in order to get onto WeFunder, but I think it's a top tier kind of fundraising, whatever, you know, investing platform. And one of our investors found us through WeFunder. Actually, we had several investors, but one who was like a lead main investor found us on WeFunder. They had invested in another Christian film and were also interested in helping Connor. Obviously, we wanted people to profit from the money from the movie as well, which is why we wanted to do investing, because it's a company, it's a business, and we wanted people to get a return. We thought by offering early bird incentives and then money back stuff, profit share, like it would help more people want to be part of the business side of making a movie. And maybe that's really what you could say is we're trying to bring business back into film business. And so we started with WeFunder and we got enough to shoot the movie. And I know everybody's like, you should have saved money for P&A, you should have saved money for post, but really what, like, that was the best, like, even doing, like, our budgets were so small, but we wanted to make sure we did it right and everybody got paid well, or the right amounts.
Yeah.
And so, and then after finishing what we could of the movie, which was a lot, the color and a lot of the composing, post-production wasn't done. And then we took that and screened it at NRB, and then we had we had an investor who said, you know what, this I'm in. And they came through and provided the rest of post, which we were just so grateful for. So it's one of those things, like getting it there and then screening it at these NRB, ICFF, or, you know, IWV, you know,
CWV,
that one. Sorry, thank you. Like, it's really important, like, you know, maybe you are spoiling it for a little bit for your audience. You know, people who have seen it at the premiere or these screenings, they didn't go and buy a movie ticket. But hopefully they have joined now the tribe of cheering on Connor, telling their friends and family about Connor, vetting it and saying, this was a good movie.
Yeah.
You know, so it's along the way, I feel like we made, you know, we took some risks, but we made some good decisions. And obviously, so that's how we got that final bunch of money to be able to push it through and get to theaters.
Okay, so you started without P&A money. Well, P&A comes after you're finished, but even marketing money. And I'm realizing, you know, that whole show business is more business than show, but I'm realizing it's show marketing.
Right.
Yeah, and so if somebody has a finished movie, like if you got all the way through post-production and then you're just waiting on P&A, and you should, I think that would, I don't know, this would be an interesting, a live discussion right here. Do you wait on P&A, or do you just?
I think you do.
Yeah.
What you just mentioned about the distributors, how they want to almost, they'd love not to put any money in and yet make all the money on the back end.
Yeah.
And so to me, these are just gates to keep you from making your film. To basically make it where only the rich can make films. By saying you have to have all of this money up front. You have to have an A-list star, because if you don't have the A-list star, your movie's not gonna be marketed, and you've got to have all the P&A already, and you gotta already have a distribution deal from Netflix. And the reality is that's not happening for anybody who doesn't have hundreds of millions of dollars behind them. And so for us scrappy independent filmmakers, I just am like, I want to see better movies made and people to break that system apart from the outside. And so to me, it's like, hey, you're not going to get that. Are you related to somebody famous, or you already have a huge trust fund? Then just go do it yourself and don't worry about it, and keep going and hit it every step of the way. And do the next thing, and get there.
Start small and finish what you started. But one thing I've recently realized, anytime a star is paid over scale, that's marketing money. Anytime a director with a name cachet is hired, that's marketing, because they have built an audience. Same with, it's why the studios make sequels or based on other IP.
It's true. That's true. But remember, story's king, because you can have Christian Bale in your movie and it bomb over the weekend, like The Bride just did.
Too soon.
Oh.
Because story's king.
Story's king. Story is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
Interesting. This Zoom is going to run out in 2 minutes. Do you have anything to update us on? Anything exciting?
Yeah. Yes. Connor is coming out on Angel on March 12th. So so it's coming up really, really soon. So for anybody who didn't want to buy it on Amazon or Apple, which you can still do, you can now stream it on Angel. And so we'd really, really appreciate everybody's support. Not only watch it all the way through to the end. We have fun post-credit sequences anyway. If you don't want to, fine, just leave it playing and or whatever. Like, anybody who is Angel, you can do this to help us out, and it costs you nothing. Like, just play it.
Yeah.
Hope that didn't take too long.
No.
Please.
Well, what I noticed is that, and that's why I started recording on the Zoom, is that the Zoom connection to my switching software locked up. So on YouTube, we're frozen. So I had to, so.
Oh, okay.
But not anymore.
I don't know how to solve that, but if you want to come back on, give me a few minutes.
We're not going to be able to.
You're not. That's fine. Yeah. Well, I so appreciate your time, and I'll just have to cut these two together and make an edit. Maybe the sound was there the whole time. I didn't know what to do in the middle of it.
Well, I'm sure there was other questions that maybe your listeners or somebody else has, or something that came up when you rewatch it, and so we'll gladly come back and demystify filmmaking. Yeah,
we'll have you back. We'll do a rotation and bring you back in a few weeks. So awesome. And congratulations on Angel. That's huge.
Thank you.
And that opens you up to 100 million people. So that's, well, I don't know if it's 100 million, but at least 1 million, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it costs 2 million.
I think 2.
Yeah.
They're up to 2 million. Yeah. Hey, you're in good company. Love it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Recording stopped.
Okay, everyone. We had some technical difficulties there, speaking with Andrew and Jay Huff of the creators of .Connor Webtective. And so I've got a recording of that Zoom call, and I'll cut it together with this and put it up on YouTube. So let's see. Looking to see if there's anyone in the chat to respond to. And what else did we want to talk about today? So there's a few projects on Plumb Tales, and there's one more that's in the onboarding process. So next week we'll have some exciting news to introduce you to that that project. The Gutter Gospel has connected with a line producer and a screenwriter to take their novel to start packaging the novel as a movie. So attaching director, writer, budget, schedule, and building that into something that investors can look at, and the risk can be lowered. So that's exciting. And they have some investors waiting for that package to come together. And I know that Race Car Monks is in the middle of pre-production. I think they're down in Texas to shoot their proof of concept. So that's exciting. And Barely Biblical is, and Pray for Mason are both funding on Lore TV. So Barely Biblical is on episode 3, and hopefully they'll have an opportunity to present that to the world in a few months. And Pray for Mason, that is at 78% funded. So that'll release some funding to finish that short proof of concept. And Pray for Mason has a marketing plan that's going to be launching this week. So, and then who else was on there? And if you haven't been getting the newsletter, plumb-news.com, today it dropped this morning, and we did a comparison of action stars risking it all to bring entertainment to the audience. And so we compared Tom Cruise to John Hennigan, a luchador and wrestler who sold his house to make his movie Boone the Bounty Hunter. So learn about the risks that creatives make to bring their art to the world. And then at Plumb Tales, I'll just pull this up. This is an example of how you guys can quickly see what's going on. The project I missed was, well, I've got all the projects. And then Thursdays, if you're in the Memphis area, down in South Haven, Mississippi, just across the state line there, is DeSoto Arts Institute. And on Thursdays, they have a live gathering of young filmmakers, and they go through a little project that can be completed in 2 hours and learn how to light and direct. So that's a real hands-on opportunity, and you can go to the calendar and find information on that. So I'm going to check the chat real quick, and if no one's here, we will sign out. Okay, we'll see you next week, and on Tuesday we'll see you at the Pray for Mason live stream. Thank you very much. God bless.